folks. This is Mike here. China and Russia are playing behind our backs here, and they've been sanctioned by the UN. Trump has been on them about trying to help ease the tensions in North Korea, but it's not working. I mean, these are axes of evil. These two countries are willing to do what they have to do to get their superpower status. So, I mean, it's just the way it goes right now. But I have a couple clips from Fox News that tells both China and Russia. And if you'd like to take a look, we'll go ahead and do that.
All right, get this. U.S. spy satellites reportedly capturing images of Chinese ships illegally selling oil to North Korea. And this happening dozens of times in the past few months from companies that were sanctioned by us. So what does this mean for our relationship overall with China now that we have pictures to prove it? Here with more, and including a breakdown of the foreign policy hotspots likely to be prevalent in 2018, Fox News foreign policy analyst Kyron Skinner. Kyron, first off, when it comes to China, this is damning, right?
Absolutely. What's so damning about this is the fact that the UN Security Council resolution on North Korea in September prohibits ship-to-ship transfers of oil products to North Korea. And if China is either looking the other way or outright approving this kind of activity, it puts the Chinese government in violation of that Security Council resolution, and in fact makes it a supporter of illegal smuggling. But furthermore, it makes it a supporter of North Korea's nuclear blackmail program.
Right, and the fact that we know about it, that we want the rest of the world to see what we see, which is an interesting ploy too. North Korea, of course, this is what it's all about with North Korea. If we could start cracking down and letting those sanctions sink in, they were the #1 issue for President Trump in 2017. Will it be in 2018?
Yes, it will be. And the president needs the Chinese to be an honest broker in this process, because most of North Korea's petroleum products come from China. And if China could comply with the various UN Security Council resolutions, it would absolutely hurt the North Korean regime.
Right.
So the administration is going to be front and center on both China and
Russia's
North Korea.
Russia's got to step up too, and Russia has to stop. And there's indications that there's some of their nuclear scientists are the ones.
Well, switching gears now, Vladimir Putin says that he's now ready to play peacemaker. The Russian president offering to mediate talks between North Korea and the United States. A spokesperson for the Kremlin saying that Russia's readiness to clear the way for de-escalation is obvious. And would Putin really help ease tensions on the world stage, or would Russia's involvement further strain the situation? Here now to weigh in is national security and foreign policy analyst Ari Aramesh. Thank you so much for joining us, Ari. We appreciate it.
Good morning to you, too.
So does this sound like a good idea to you, Russia as peacemaker between the U.S. and North Korea?
No, it doesn't. First and foremost, it's not North Korea versus the U.S. It's North Korea versus the entire international community. There have been so many United Nations Security Council resolutions unanimously passed against North Korea and its nuclear tests and its intercontinental missile tests that places North Korea as probably the pariah, the most sort of pronounced pariah in the international community. So by trying to have the Russians mediate between the U.S. and North Korea, we're trying to redefine this problem as a U.S.-North Korea problem. And as a matter of fact, this is a North Korea versus the rest of the world problem, first and foremost. Secondly,
Go ahead. Your second point.
Secondly, the Russians are not a good mediator. The Russians are perhaps in the top 5 sort of countries of violators of international norms and international law. So by rewarding the Russians, who have long sought to gain their Soviet Union sort of superpower status, a mediator or a moderator or a broker position between the U.S. or the international community and North Korea, we're in effect elevating them back to the world stage as a responsible actor that they're not.
And that was going to be my question to you. What would Russia's goal here be? Because we already know that their goal was to completely disrupt political activities here in the United States. This would further enable Democrats possibly to use this as leverage in upcoming elections as well.
Absolutely. Look at what Russia has done so far. They're accused of having interfered or having tried to interfere in German, French, British, and U.S. elections. They are accused of having sort of waged waves of attacks online, on social media, and so on and so forth by creating sort of creating emotional and political wars between various factions within these countries. Now, Russia has been trying for years now to try to influence political action and political sort of calculations and equations in the Western world and try to sort of pit one Western country and one NATO country against another. By elevating them again to this status, we are yet granting them another get free, get out of jail card. And yes, there will be some serious questions. The president has yet to enforce sanctions against Russia. The president has yet to take tougher measures against Russian interference in Ukraine, Russian interference in Europe, and so on and so forth. And the president has yet to sort of tell us whether he agrees with his own intelligence community analysis that the Russians tried to interfere in U.S. elections and in other elections in the Western world. So yes, if the president does in fact bring the Russians in as mediator, there will be some major questions posed to President Trump.
I seriously doubt that would ever happen, along with the fact that there are obviously the allegations that Russia itself has been aiding North Korea and Iran in terms of their nuclear developments as well, which we can't even get into. Ari, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your time this morning. We'll have you back, okay?
Of course.
So there you have it, folks. They kind of the best media going right now on at Fox News. I mean, they're not apt to lie to you as far as I can tell. It's not like CNN or CBS or ABC. They're just liars and their scare tactics. They've been flushing crap down the toilet with Trump since he's been elected, and with all this godless stuff going on right now, it's kind of hard to believe the media these days. So, but I went ahead and picked out the only one that I could rely on for update and truth. So that would be the Fox News Network. Now I also have other sources that I go to that aren't on mainstream media. I go to just different sources to see how they do, how they come up with the truth, and I also do a lot of research myself. So, I mean, decide for yourself what you think, because your opinion matters, just like my own. I mean, I may not always be right, but then again, I'm not always wrong either. That's just gonna do it for right now. So, God bless and have a happy new year. Bye.